who has been following Rakesh Jhunjhunwala's journey. Ridhima, he is somebody who is immensely quotable, an icon of the stock market, an investor that so many looked up to, so many respected, and somebody who was known for his straight talk. He will dearly be missed.
Well, that's right, Shilpa, and I apologize for the patchy network earlier. I hope you can hear me this time around. But yes, as Vinaya was rightly pointing out, this is a very unfortunate day for everybody who's followed him closely. He's often called an investor or a trader with a Midas touch. He's often compared to the likes of Warren Buffett. He's the big bull of the Wall Street. We just saw him just last week at the launch of Akasa Air, which was backed by him. He was extremely excited. He, in fact, one of the last interviews that he's given has been to our network, to CNBC TV 18. Anybody who's been in the business has followed him for stock advice, tips, and how to actually always have the confidence of an investor. This is something that started very early in his life. We've been told that when he was in college, he developed this interest. He enrolled himself in a chartered accountant college, and that's where it all started from. One of his early investments were in Tata Tea, and that really, changed the game for him. But as I said, he was somebody who never lost the confidence or the joy of the game. When the global recession had hit, I remember speaking to him at that time, and like everybody else, he'd also seen a big loss, but that didn't, deter his confidence or his joy or the love as far as wanting to know more about stocks and trading was concerned. But as you rightly pointed out, almost everybody who's been in the business has looked up to him. If you just look at his net worth, I believe the Forbes have put him at 48th number as far as the richest man is concerned. But yes, he had been ailing for a while now. He'd had a bad bout of COVID and the other health issues and complications. So what we're understanding is he was taken to the hospital at about 7 a.m., 6:45, 7 a.m. in the morning, but the doctors couldn't really revive him.
Well, yes, indeed, Ridhima, he was somebody who was so influential, and the fact that he was battling these multiple health issues, not many knew because he was still in the public eye. As you mentioned, he was seen at the inauguration of Akasa Air, but also, do take us through the highlights of his life. He was somebody who was so immensely quotable. He always followed the golden rules of business, didn't give in to these trends, and very famously said, never invest at unreasonable valuations, never run for companies which are in the limelight. And he really lived by that. A man with a value of about $5.5 billion when he is now no more, but he leaves so much behind, more than just that material wealth.
Absolutely, Shilpa. You've actually quoted one of his most quotable quotes. But let me just give you a quick background. As I said, his interest started way back when he was in college, when he enrolled himself at the Institute of Chartered Accountant of India. But after he got the degree, he actually wanted to get straight head-on as far as trading in the Wall Street was concerned. It was way back in 1985 when he, in fact, had started with just a sum of rupees 5,000. But by 2018, his entire capital had reached to over 11,000 crores. So from 1985 to 2018 is when the big crucial phase was for him. And as I said, he had invested in a lot of crucial companies like Titan, Crisil, Orbindo Pharma, NCC, and others. But this is where it gets interesting. As I pointed out, after the 2008 global recession, his stock prices actually fell by almost 30%. But he still eventually recovered all of that by 2012, and he continued to have the same sort of advice for anybody else as well, that this is a part of the game and you need to be prepared. You need to do your own due diligence before you get into it. But as I pointed out, his most recent venture was Akasa Air, which is backed by him, which we saw the launch a few days ago with the management team of Vinay Dubey, Aditya Nair, and others. And he was extremely frail even when we saw him at the launch, but he still wanted to make his physical presence felt. And this, in fact, will be a big loss as far as the business industry is concerned, because there's nobody else really who can replace Rakesh Jhunjhunwala.
Well, yes, indeed, he was a self-made trader, investor, and businessman. And Ridhima, his rules of business were also very simple. He was an old school man. He stuck to the golden tenets. And even when it comes to his external appearances, he wasn't really a man to wear the bling on his sleeve, though his worth rose from just $10,000 that he had invested about 3 decades ago, that he grew to $5 billion. That attire still remained the same, and that man still remained the same, simplistic in his attire and outlook. Simple,
Well,
to be
absolutely.
more precise.
So this is what we say, that most experiences are not really shown by them, and that's a philosophy that Rakesh Jhunjhunwala really led his life with. But as Vinay was also pointing out, this is going to be an extremely sad day for his family as well. He survived by his wife and children, and he's always spoken about his family so fondly as well. So the details, as I said, are still sketchy. We'll really have to wait for an official statement to also figure out what really happened. But as I pointed out, this will be a big setback, Shilpa.
Ridhima, you've interacted with him. You've personally spoken with him. To tell us, okay, we lost that connection with Ridhima, I believe, but she was just telling us that she had interacted with him, and through the years he remained somebody who was extremely accessible, and also somebody who that so many people looked up to, because never gave into trends, never gave into new market trends, stood steadfast by his golden rules of business, and of course was somebody who stayed in India, was very bullish when it came to not just the market but the country as well. Let me see if we can re-establish any of those connections with my colleagues. But for now, to recap the details, he was 62 years old. He was battling multiple health issues. In fact, it's been about 1.5 years of ailments for Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, but that didn't keep him back, because you saw Akasa Air, which has already taken off on its inaugural flight, were joined by Vinaya Deshpande from Mumbai. She's a Mumbai bureau chief. He unfortunately died in Mumbai's Breach Candy Hospital. Vinaya, what more are we learning about his demise? Do we have any more details?
Well, yes, Shilpa, what we know is that he was recovering. He was unwell for quite some time now. In fact, he was bedridden for almost 1.5 years. Today morning, his family, sensing something was amiss, brought him to the hospital, Breach Candy Hospital, at around 6:45 in the morning. And that is where the hospital, after checking him, declared him dead. So according to the hospital sources, they say that he was brought dead to the hospital. So it is likely that he passed away sometime through the night at the residence itself. Before he was brought to the hospital. So right now the medical procedures will take place. As of now, what we know is that he was suffering from multiple health issues. He was bedridden for almost 18 months. In fact, he had faced a lot of weight loss as well during the last 1.5 years or so. He was suffering from diabetes, other kidney problems as well, and just a few weeks ago, he was discharged from the Breach Candy Hospital. He was recovering at home. The last he was seen was at the Akasa Airlines launch, as Riddhima had reported. But today morning, after he was brought to Breach Candy Hospital, the Breach Candy Hospital declared him dead. He was suffering from multiple health issues for a long time now, is what we know, and yet he continued to attend to some of his commitments as well. He had in fact recently even given an interview which had prompted several of his fans to request him to take care of his health. So as of now, what we know is that Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, who was recovering after facing several health issues, was brought to the Breach Candy Hospital at 6:45 in the morning, where he was declared dead by the hospital. Right now, we are being told that the mortal remains are at
Absolutely
the hospital.
unfortunate. Vinaya, do stay with us. We're also joined by Yatin Modi.